What up guys, Submetal983 here bringing me top 25 albums of 2018 video. Now first and foremost I'd just like to say that 2018 has been another outstanding year for new music. We had some absolute quality albums and EPs being released across the year around. To sum up, I think the start of the year was absolutely fantastic. Throughout the mid sort of point of the year I went through some personal struggles and stuff like that, and I didn't really discover a lot of new music around that time. I did discover some stuff, but not a great deal. And then towards the end of the year, I started to play a little bit of catch up, discovered a load of new music, and here we are to do me top 25 albums of 2018. Obviously, as usual, we've got 3 super metal honourable recommendations for you, and just a quick rundown of 2 releases that aren't in this video, but my favourite split release definitely has to go to Hollow Prophet and Scumfuck. The Scum Prophet EP was absolutely fantastic, easily one of the best deathcore releases of the year. It was absolutely disturbing to hear that release. And my favourite EP has to go to Next Silver with Aseity Part 1. Absolutely outstanding EP, and it's sad to see the guys go, but they have gone guns a-blazing with that EP. It's sad there's not going to be a part 2, but that EP is just absolutely fantastic. So if you're a fan of the Faceless, definitely check out that one, and also check out my review of that EP. But yeah, so we're going to go on to the recommendations, the Super Metal Honourable recommendations, obviously the honourable mentions of 2018. We've got 3 to get through, so let's get on with it. The first one is going to go to Kundra with Maya. Now, I discovered this one at sort of like midpoint, towards the end of 2018. I've given it a listen once, and I really liked it, but never felt myself coming back to it. And then around November time, I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it another spin. And since then, I've fallen in love with this album. I love the heaviness, the eeriness, and it combines a lot of elements from the likes of post-metal, black metal, doom metal, progressive metal, and sludge, all into one very unique unit. I'd definitely say if you're a fan of Gojira, you'll find something to love about these guys. It's an absolutely fantastic album. Make sure you check it out. Definitely something I feel like is going a bit under the radar in 2018. The next super metal recommendation is going to go to, or super metal honourable mention, should we just say, it's going to go to Hate Eternal with Upon Desolate Sands. Now, Hate Eternal, as you know, is one of my favourite death metal bands of all times, and they have a consistent discography throughout the years. And this one, I think, is one of the best ones that they've done so far. It's solid, it's gritty, it's heavy, and in my personal opinion, it's a lot more catchier than the last album. It's up there as being one of their best. So if you haven't heard this, definitely check us out. Releasing the Season of Mist, fantastic stuff. And Eric Rutan is an absolute death metal genius, if you ask me. So yeah, and the final one is going to go to an album that I wish I played a little bit more in 2018, because it would have been in the top 25 without a shadow of doubt. And I'm talking about Visigoth with Conqueror's Oath. Now, this is my first exposure to the band. I need to check out their last album, but oh my god, this isn't such a fun, enjoyable album. There's so many good riffs on here. The melodies are just epic, and quite frankly, it's just a fun, enjoyable release. And I checked this out because they're coming to Newcastle next year, which I'm really looking forward to. But they played this year, 2018, and it's sold out, and that's what got us turned on to check them out before it sold out. But by the time I checked it out, it sold out. So, but yeah, this is an awesome album, and I cannot wait to see them next year. I believe it's May or April. Can't remember which one it is, but really looking forward to that. So anyone who is going, I'll see you there. Alright, now it's time for the top 25 albums of 2018. Now, just remember, this is my opinion, not yours. Obviously, you're going to have a different opinion to me, but let us know in the comments what was your top album of 2018, and also, if you can be bothered, write a little list of like top 3, top 5, whatever, or even do top 50. I don't care, but just leave us a comment. I like to know what albums I missed, and if I'm missing out on something else, anything I need to revisit. You know how it is. But yeah, let's crack on with the first one. Coming in at number 25 has to go to Rise of the North Star with The Legacy of She. yeah, this is my first exposure to the band, and quite frankly, they've made a fan out of me. This is an excellent, excellent album, culminating elements of hardcore, new metal, and just all-out pummeling heavy beatdown kind of influence in there. It's not overly bearing on the beatdown, it's just heavy, gritty hardcore with a bit of a new metal influence and beatdown influence. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, definitely check this out. French beatdown with a Japanese theme. Excellent, excellent stuff. If you want some heavy riffs, definitely check out this album. Excellent stuff. Released under Nuclear Blast as well. Coming in at number 24, we have Aborted with TerrorVision. Now, this album's been getting a lot of hype in 2018, and quite rightly so, because this is easily one of the most solid Aborted albums we have had over the past couple of years. Like, every album has been consistent, but this album, to me, has to be the icing on the cake for their recent lineup. I mean, it's just vicious, it's relentless, it's literally like death metal adrenaline. That's what Aborted is there for, and quite frankly, this album just highlights what I love Aborted. This is fantastic stuff, and I have to say, I think it's the self-titled track, TerrorVision, is just unbelievable. Definitely check out this album. Relentless stuff, definitely. Coming in at number 23, this one's a bit of a controversial one, but is my list, remember, not yours. But yeah, we've got Ghost with Prequel. In my personal opinion, love or hate them, they are an absolutely fantastic band in my personal opinion, becoming one of my favourite bands of all time. Like, and this album, personally to me, is their catchiest and most enjoyable release that they've done so far. It's easily the most memorable. I just kept on coming back to this, and it highlighted why I love Ghost. I mean, every album, it just seems to get better and better and better, and the production on this album is just incredible. So, yeah, if you don't like Ghost, then you don't like Ghost. If you like them, then you should love this album. It's absolutely fantastic, and I think they're a unique horse in metal, if you ask me. So, definitely check out the new Ghost with Prequel. Excellent, excellent stuff, and fuck the haters. Anyway, coming in at number 22, we have the new Rivers of Nile with Where Owls Know My Name. Yeah. Wow, this album is such a fucking good album. Like, their last album, Monarchy, was absolutely fantastic for tech death, but this is also tech death, but this takes on a lot more progressive elements, and quite frankly, it makes it all that more enjoyable, if you ask me. Like, it just serenades you from bit to bit, but it's still a technical death metal album, so it is still vicious and nasty and got a really sharp edge to it, but it's the progressive elements, the more melodic sections that I think are just blissful and just, in my opinion, amazing. And quite frankly, a lot of people have been talking about this album, and quite rightly so. This is easily the best thing they've done. It's absolutely fantastic, so make sure you check out the new Rivers of Nile album, Where Owls Know My Name. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. Next up, coming in at number 21, we have Matura with the self-titled album. Yeah, local boys doing some kind of melodic thrash metal sort of stuff, but oh my god, I've been listening to this album so much in 2018, and it is such a fun, enjoyable release. I've discovered so many fun albums this year, and as you'll see by this list, and this one's definitely had that headbangers kind of vibe going for it. It's definitely one to ache your neck, but it's soaring melodies and fantastic guitar playing, relentless drumming, and epic vocals just make it just such an enjoyable album, and definitely something, as a Northeast metalhead, I am very proud that this is from my area. So if you haven't checked it out, make sure you check out the new Matura album, self-titled, released under, I think it's Mighty Music. Yeah, definitely check it out. Excellent, excellent stuff. I just hope they get some more exposure in 2019, because they deserve it with that album. Alright, coming in at number 20, we have a bit of a short album. It could translate as an EP, but it's a full length. This is the new Human Barbecue album with Cannibalistic Flesh Harvest, which is this one. Obviously, they released an EP in October, I believe, as well, just to add to this album. But in my opinion, this album is where it's at. This is devastating, destructive, brutal death metal. It's verging on slam and brutal death metal. It's very heavy, very gnarly, and just repulsively heavy, and for that short 20 minutes that it is, you want to just put it on again and again, and that's why I love this album. It has that replayable factor, and quite frankly, for brutal death metal, it doesn't get much more pummeling than Human Barbecue's Cannibalistic Flesh Harvest, released on the Amputated Vein Records. Excellent, excellent stuff. So check that out if you haven't already. A lot of people's been talking about this album, and quite rightly so. We have the new Bloodbath coming in at number 19 with The Arrow of Satan is Drawn. Oh my god, Bloodbath have come back with an absolute annihilator of an album. In my personal opinion, I wasn't all that great on Nick Holmes when he first joined on Grandma Funeral, but the more I listened to it, the more I fell in love with it. But this one, from the moment I heard it, it was just... wow, I was just in awe just listening to how putrid, rancid, and just infested this actually sounds. I mean, from what I remember of Bloodbath, like, I remember, like, a very meaty production, whereas this one sounds a little bit more Swedish in the whole death metal side of production. Like, it's really raw, very vicious, and it just adds to the overall atmosphere and makes it just that more, in some ways, lurking, if you ask me. So if you want, and I have to say, one of the best album artworks of 2018. I know it doesn't look like much, but infested flies around a cot is just, oh, it's just nasty. But yeah, The Arrow of Satan is drawn by Bloodbath. It's got the hype behind it, and it's deserved. So this is absolutely fantastic. Nasty, nasty death metal titans are back, and this is one of their best records, if you ask me. I love Bloodbath, and it just highlights it for me. Anyway, coming in at number 18, yeah, is an album that I don't have on CD. I will be pre-ordering it as soon as it goes up, but I'm going to talk about it because it is one of the best albums of 2018. I'm talking about Utstort with Veneer, I believe how it's pronounced. Oh my god, I love atmospheric black metal, and 2018 has brought us a new Utstort album, and it is absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love this album. From the atmospheric elements to the ambient elements, it just creating this great, cold, chilling atmosphere, but then the melodies just give it that more soaringness to it. And then, to highlight it all, they threw in a Burzum cover. And I was just like, oh my god. From my favourite album, Philosophium, you just need to hear this album. If you love atmospheric black metal, then this is the album you need to hear. And when it goes up on Celestial Oak Productions, I'll be definitely picking it up. It is absolutely fantastic. So, Utstort with Veneer coming in at number 18. Coming in at number 17, we have Architects with Holy Hell. Obviously, as you can see, signed. I didn't expect Architects to come back after the loss of Tom Searle. Everyone thought it was going to be the end for Architects, and it's not. They are back. I believe the guitarist from Silosis has joined the band, and quite frankly, they have put together an album that is just absolutely mind-boggling, filled with a lot of emotion, as you can expect, a lot of mourning emotion in there, and you can just feel it from the vocals to even the songwriting. Everything culminating in this album doesn't scream out like despair. Well, it does scream out despair, but it's not too mournful. It is emotion filled. It's powerful. This is easily one of the most powerful albums you will hear in 2018, and quite frankly, this album is, I hope this isn't the last album from Architects, because this is outstanding stuff. If you want something filled with raw emotion and power, look no further than Architects Holy Hell. This is absolutely fantastic. The band is still at their best and in their prime, if you ask me. Excellent, excellent stuff. Alright. Coming in at number 16, we have one of the best deathcore releases of 2018. We have Obliterate with Impending Death. Now, Obliterate, I've been waiting for a new album and a new release from these guys, and when I heard they'd signed Unique Leader Records, I was pumped up as hell, and received a promo, and quite frankly, I was just in awe just listening to it. This is everything that I wanted from a new Obliterate album, and definitely why I feel they are one of the most underrated bands in the genre. If you haven't checked out this album, you make sure you do. It's heavy, it's crushing, it's huge, and just destructive as hell. I absolutely love this album. It's absolutely fantastic. So if you want some great solid deathcore that I feel is going to go a bit under the radar in 2018, this is where it's at. Obliterate with Impending Death. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And not to mention the guest spots are fantastic. Speaking of deathcore again, we're going to go on to number, 15, with Talk Shit and Get Kissed by Brojob. This album is fucking hilarious. I absolutely love this album. The lyrics are flipping just absolutely outstanding. But behind all that, behind the comedic side of it, there is some seriously pummeling, heavy, nasty deathcore on here. This is easily some of the best deathcore I've heard in 2018. But not to mention on top of that, the songs Be My Valentine and Tickle War are some of the best deathcore I've heard in 2018, especially Tickle War, featuring CG from Thy Art Is Murder, and I think it's Tyler from Traitors, if I'm not mistaken, does also a guest spot on that song. But oh my god, just hear it, you'll know what I'm on about. It's absolutely fantastic. And Be My Valentine with Dickie Allen from obviously Infinite Annihilator just highlights it. This is just an outstanding album for deathcore, but it's funny as fuck. It's fun. It's not there to be flash, it's just fun as fuck. So make sure you check out Brojo with Talk Shit, Get Kissed. Fantastic title, I might as well add. Coming in at number 14, you might have guessed this was going to be on here, the new Immortal album with Northern Chaos Gods. Abath is immortal, Immortal is Abath, question mark? Fuck that shit. Abath's album was mediocre at best, but this new Immortal album is, oh, it's chillingly good. It's blistering, it's fast, it's intense, and in my opinion, it is one of the best Immortal albums. Like, Pure Holocaust is personally my favourite, but this trumps the likes of All Shall Fall, At the Heart of Winter, Damned in Black, all those albums that you can think of the modernist sort of era with Abath. No, just no. This is where it's at. I fucking love this album. I think Immortal is back, and I just hope that with this new album and the hype that it's getting, they return to live playing, because I need to see them performing some of this song. Because is it Demonaz? I think it is. I don't think it says on here, not in the booklet. But Demonaz returning was just the light that we needed for Immortal. This is absolutely fantastic, and it's living up to the hype that it's been getting. Alright, unlucky for some, 13, but coming in at number 13, we have Sawfly with Ritual. Now, I was a little bit disappointed with the last Sawfly album, Archangel. I thought it was a bit naff and quite boring in all honesty, not very, what's the word, gutsy, should we just say. But Savages was a good album, it just had a really naff production, if you ask me. But oh my god, this album more than makes up for it. I absolutely love this album. If you haven't checked out my review, if you haven't already, but this album is fantastic. I mean, it just has, they've gone back to a bit more of a death metal approach to the songwriting, but it gives it that raw, vicious, sort of heavy, gritty grooves that you need for a Sawfly record, and it's still got the tribal influence that Sawfly's been known for. And quite frankly, I think this album is one of their best records. It's up there with the likes of Enslaved, which I talked about in Super Metal recommendations. But this is where it's at, if you ask me. Ritual is absolutely fantastic. And if you didn't like Sawfly, then definitely give this album a chance, because it's fantastic. I'm surprised. I absolutely love this album, but fantastic stuff. Sawfly with Ritual. Coming in at number 12, we have easily one of the most violent records of 2018, and wow. We have Leech with You Took the Sun When You Left. Oh my god, if you want something that's going to pummel you into the ground and just stomp all over you, then this is definitely for you. This is violent, it mixes hardcore, grindcore, power violence, death metal to just make this really unique band and just a unique album that, in my opinion, just, it's not there for relaxation purposes. This is here to pound you into the fucking ground. Oh my god, this album is just violent as hell and heavy as hell. It doesn't really get much heavier than this in 2018. It might get a little bit heavier in my personal opinion, but this is heavy as fuck. Make sure you check out Leech with You Took the Sun When You Left. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, sorry about that. I keep on getting it mixed up with the EP that they released. But yeah, fantastic stuff. Make sure you check... Excuse me. Make sure you check out that album. It's heavy as fuck. Awesome, awesome stuff. Alright, where we are. Coming in at number 11, we have Mental Cruelty with Purgatorium. Now, in all honesty, I didn't warm up to this album when I first heard it. I thought it was quite boring, in all honesty. But upon second listening a couple of months later, I was like, why the fuck did I think that? Because this is easily one of the most putrid and filthy sounding deathcore albums to come out in 2018. I just love that factor onto it. It's raw, it's nasty and vicious, and quite frankly, it's heavy as fuck. Brutal deathcore has made its namesake in 2018, if you ask me. It's blew up in the genre. Slam brutal deathcore, whatever you want to call it, or if you want to fight us about that genre, then by all means. But I think this is absolutely fantastic, and what's more, better yet, they've got a new album coming out next year. I cannot wait for that, because this album is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. I love this album, so make sure you check out Mental Cruelty with Purgatorium. Fantastic stuff. Coming in at number 10, the return of Bleed From Within with their new album, Era. Oh my god, Bleed From Within were one of my favourite metalcore, deathcore bands, whatever you just want to categorise them as, for a long time, and they have returned with a brand spanking new album, and quite frankly, it's some of their best work that they've done. It echoes a lot from their last album, but to me anyway, it's a more mature piece. It's kind of got a bit more melodicness going for it, but it's still got the groove metal kind of elements, the metalcore, the deathcore, and it's still heavy and groovy, and quite frankly, I absolutely love it. The vocals are excellent and a bit ambitious, you could say, and I absolutely love that. They've got some more half-scream sort of elements in there, but all in all, I think this is an absolutely fantastic Bleed From Within album, and I've been listening to it all the more, and I will be listening to it more in 2019 and for years to come, because this is a fantastic return to form. Bleed From Within is back, and I just need to catch them live, because I still haven't seen them live. Shock horror. But yeah, Bleed From Within with Era, fantastic metalcore release in 2018. Coming in at number 9, we have me German boys, Stillbirth with Annihilation of Mankind. Now, this album, for me anyway, was the best brutal death metal that I heard in 2018. For me anyway, I loved the heaviness, the crushing, devastating vocals, and the pummeling guitar and relentless drums. It just culminated into one amazing release, featuring a lot of great guest spots, and quite frankly, for brutal death metal, it doesn't get much heavier than this in 2018. I know different people will disagree with us, but that's what this list is for. But this is a fantastic brutal death metal album, and released under, surprise, surprise, Unique Leader Records, because Unique Leader, in my personal opinion, has absolutely killed it in 2018, and this is one of the highlights for me. Fantastic album, and also my exposure to the band, so I definitely need to dwell more into their older discography, because this is heavy as fuck. I absolutely love this album, so make sure you check that out. Coming in at number 8, we have Chelsea Grin with Eternal Nightmare, and this band is obviously kind of returned with a new lineup and coming back as a 4-piece and getting Tom Barber, formerly of Lorna Shore, on vocals, which I think was a very gutsy move, and I felt like, yeah, this is going to be something very unique. And the first song they released, Dead Rose, was absolutely fantastic, but the icing on the cake for me was when they released Hostage. Oh my god, that is easily one of my favourite songs of 2018. Absolutely fantastic song. Proper deathcore. Excuse me. They're not dwelling into anything progressive like they did on Ashes to Ashes. Is it Ashes to Ashes? I think it is. You know, the one that they did with Jason Richardson. But anyway, but then hearing this album in full just highlighted why I absolutely love this album. It's absolutely fantastic. From Dead Rose to See You Soon, Hostage, Scent of Evil, the title track Eternal Nightmare. It's absolutely fantastic, and Tom Barber's vocals are just as nasty, just as gnarly, but they are a little bit more different than they are on Lorna Shore for obvious reason. But I absolutely love this album. It's fantastic, heavy as fuck, and quite frankly, Chelsea Grin have been rebirthed, if you ask me, and this is absolutely fantastic. It's fucking fantastic, if you ask me. Love that album. Alright, coming in at number 7. Me boy Triple D, as you know, I'll be looking forward to seeing this one in here. But this is Runnerjma with the Triumph of Piracy. I discovered these guys at Pirate Fest with Hailstorm and the Dread crew of Oddwood on Pirate Fest in the UK. And these guys were on there. They opened up, and quite frankly, from the moment I heard them, I was like, yeah, this is a fun fucking band. I hope they have CDs. And then they said we have CDs. So I went over, picked it up, realised it was a 2018 release, and I was like, yeah, this is going to be high up in my top albums. And quite frankly, this is up there. This beats a lot of Hailstorm's material. And quite frankly, I think, obviously Hailstorm class himself as the second best pirate metal band, but these obviously are the best pirate metal band. If you ask me, this is just such a fun album. It's hilarious, and quite frankly, songs like Forest Party, Netflix and Your Pirate Ship are just absolute anthems of 2018. I've listened to this album so much, and I think it's easily the most fun pirate album I've ever heard. It's fantastic, so don't let it deter you. If you hate Hailstorm, then you're not going to like it. But if you love Hailstorm, get your ears around this. This is absolutely fantastic. And another band that's going to be bringing out an album in 2019. Fucking bands are on a roll this year, if you ask me. But anyway, but yeah, make sure you check out that album, and I cannot wait for the new one. It's going to be absolutely hilarious. Alright, coming in at number 6, are we up to? Yeah. One of the heaviest releases you will hear in 2018, and people won't be surprised in the slightest that this is in my top albums, but my Slovenian boys, Within Destruction with Death Wish, signing to Unique Leader Records after this album's release, and quite frankly, this is easily one of the heaviest deathcore albums you will hear in 2018, and one of the heaviest records you will hear, period. This is slam. This is modern slam, really. It's slam and brutal deathcore. It's heavy, it's crushing, it's asphyxiating here. It's heavy as fuck. There's nothing, like as I said on about Leech, it's like being pummeling into the ground, and this is the musical equivalent of being curb stomped into the fucking ground. Oh my god, this is fantastic stuff. I absolutely love this album. So, Within Destruction, bringing a more slammy based release compared to Void, which is a bit more of a blistering sort of vibe, whereas this is groovier, and just heavier. If you want something heavier than Void, which was my album of the year, then this is definitely for you. Absolutely fantastic, and Bring the Hammers, fantastic stuff. I love Within Destruction. I mean, the two albums are just fantastic. Alright, coming in at number 5, we have my favourite death metal release of 2018, and that has to go to Constructively with Exile. Oh my god, this album blew me away when I first heard it. From the singles that I heard up until when I heard the full album stream, when I got sent it by Everlasting Spew Records, I've had this album on repeat, and quite frankly, if you're a fan of Morbid Angel, Immolation, you will find something to love about this. It's epic. It's to the point of where it's monolithic. There's no other word. It's a monolithic death metal release. It's huge, massive, and all that, but it's still underneath that is some really heavy, well thought out death metal. It's got some kind of progressive elements, a few melodic elements, but it's still dark and monolithic. The only words, dark, monolithic death metal in the shape of Constructively with Exile. Fantastic album, and scores my favourite death metal release of 2018. Fantastic album. Make sure you check it out. Coming in at number 4. Are you surprised that this one's in here? Ingested with the Level Above Human. Oh my god, I absolutely love Ingested, and this album is the pinnacle of their musical career, if you ask me. Like, if they can outdo themselves more than this album, I mean, then I'll be like, yeah, I'm done with music now. But honestly, this album is absolutely fantastic. It's still got the slam elements, it's still got the pounding heavy elements, the blast beats, the riffs, but the riffs are a bit more potent on this album. It's a little bit more of a headbanger, more accessible, Ingested, but that doesn't take away from the fact that this is a fantastic album and still has the elements that you want. And Jason Devin's vocals, Oh my fucking god, he is an absolute monster vocalist and definitely one of my favourites and inspirations as a vocalist, and quite frankly, this album is fantastic. If they can outdo this album, which I wouldn't be surprised, we're in for one heavy fucker. But yeah, this album, released under Unique Leader Records, their homeland, if you ask me. They were destined to be on that label, and this album is the pinnacle of their career, and definitely one of their strongest albums, in my personal opinion. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. Ingested, the level above human. Surprise, surprise, it's in my top albums list. Alright, now we're into the top 3. Now these 3, I'm not gonna lie, could be interchangeable. It literally depends on how I'm feeling at that specific point, because these 3 share the spotlight. If you ask me, they could easily be number 1, 2 and 3, so kind of the same sort of lines of last year, as I believe it was top 5, but this one we've narrowed it down to kind of the top 3, because these 3 are literally, I've been chopping and changing them every week, but I think the past week I've been like, no, these are the top 3, so let's get on with it. Coming in at number 3, I'm going to take the cover off for this one so you can see the proper cover, but this is Parkway Drive with Reverence. Now, there's not a lot of people who's been digging the new Parkway Drive sound, but for me anyway, I fell in love with this album. I think it's a lot more catchier. It's just taken the elements that they've had on, what was the album? That's the odd songs on there that weren't the typical Parkway Drive metalcore sound, and just adapting on that and making a more cohesive sound to that. It's still Parkway Drive, it's still got the breakdowns, it's still got the riffs, and it's got the unparalleled melodies that they can pull off. I think they are one of the best at pulling off the melodies, and quite frankly, this album is the pinnacle of that, and the songs are just absolutely fantastic, well written, and Winston's vocals are just incredible. His cleans are fantastic, his growls are still powerful as they ever have been, and the songwriting is absolutely fantastic. Wishing Wells, Prayer, Cemetery Bloom, The Void, Kronos, I believe that's pronounced, and my favourite song, and one of my favourite songs of the year, has to go to Shadowboxing. Wow, that is just such an epic song. I absolutely adore that song, and to put the icing on the cake, I cannot wait to see them next month in Manchester with Killswitch and Thy Art Is Murder. Yes, I managed to get it just before it sold out. I'm sated, but I'm getting old, you know. Anyway, but yeah, make sure you check out Parkway Drive's new album, Reverence. In my opinion, it's fantastic, and I think Parkway Drive are here to stay. If you don't like their sound, then good for you. And next up, I reviewed this not too long ago, and I still stand by it. This is the heaviest thing I have heard ever, as one of the heaviest albums and one of the best of 2018. From when I heard it, I was just in awe. I'm talking about Nadir by Black fucking Tongue. Oh my god, obviously, you've heard the Unconquerable Darby thoughts on that in the last one of the last Super Metal recommendations. And then, obviously, Born Hanged and Falsifier, absolutely fantastic releases. But this is the best Black Tongue we have heard. This is easily one of the most heaviest things I have heard, as I repeat myself. But I said in my review that it was a down-tempo release. It's not. This is just pure blackened sludge metal. Has the death metal elements, has a bit of down-tempo influence, but it's just pure blackened sludge. It's dirty. It's huge. There is nothing that touches this when it comes to hugeness and monolithicness. I know constructively if I said that, but this is where it's at when it comes to hugeness. And quite frankly, it's one of the heaviest fuckers I have ever heard in my life. And to top it all off, a dying god coming into human flesh. The Celtic Frost cover from one of my favourite albums, Monotheist, was just icing on the fucking cake. Oh my god, this album is fan-fucking-tastic. And Black Tongue is back, bringing the despair and just filthy putridness. There is nothing more heavy and putrid than this album. Fantastic, fantastic stuff. And now we arrive at my top album of 2018. Now, like I said, all 3 of these could be interchangeable, but for me anyway, when I was talking to our lass about it and just talking with friends, they all felt that this one for me was my favourite album, and I wasn't entirely going on their opinion, but the amount of times I span this and got chills and felt a love for this album, it just grew and grew and grew, and then until like last week when I was finalising it, I was like, yeah, that is definitely my top album, and it has to go to this one. And it's a metalcore album, post-hardcore, whatever you want to call it. Surprise, surprise to some people, but whatever. I love this album. This is Ice Nine Kills with The Silver Scream as my album of the year for 2018. Oh my god, like, Every Trick in the Boot was a really good album and got us introduced to the band, but this album, from the themes, of the horror themes, to the riffs, the drums, the musicianship, and the icing that, for me, was the best part of this album, was Spencer's vocals. They are incredible, from his monstrous lows, mids, screams, highs, and then his epic cleans, which are unparalleled, if you ask me. He's up there as being one of the best clean vocalists, up there with the likes of Jesse Leech and Howard Jones of Killswitch Engage. Them are my two favourite, and Christian Alvestead of Solution 45. Those three are up there as being one of my favourites, and Spencer definitely goes up there with this album. Oh my god. And the songs, The American Nightmare, Thank God It's Friday, Stabbing in the Dark, The Jig Is Up, Rockin' the Boat. Rockin' the Boat has to take the title as my favourite song of 2018. Just the Jaws theme on that song, in the breakdown, it just gives us chills every time. It makes us smile, and quite frankly, the smile you son of a bitch bit, oh, it just gets us all pumped up, and just the riffs, everything combinate and just makes this album so fucking good. And if you're into metalcore or post-hardcore and you haven't gave this album a chance, have a word with yourself. This is absolutely fantastic. I know there's a few people on my friends list who may end up watching this who said, oh, it wasn't dark enough to be the Jaws theme tune. It was shit. Fuck off. But yeah, honestly, this is an excellent, excellent album. 10 out of 10. And quite frankly, my album of the year for 2018. So make sure you check out Ice Nine Kills with The Silver Scream. Fantastic, fantastic song. Oh, and what's the other song? Enjoy Your Slayer. Love that song as well. So yeah, those are my top 25 albums of 2018, along with 3 super metal honourable recommendations. Did I say that right? Yeah, I did. And obviously my favourite EP, Next Silver and Split, Hollow Prophet, and Scumfuck. So yeah, I hope you discovered some new bands through this, and I hope you all had a really lovely Christmas, and I'll see you all in 2019, because 2019 is set to be another heavy year, and obviously expect a top albums video at the end of the year, and updates and purchases, reviews, all sorts of stuff, and my new band will be getting shit sorted, so keep an eye out for that in the upcoming future, and I'll see you until the next video, and remember, stay metal, and I'll see you later.